Hey, this is your girl, Sada Star, coming to you with another episode of A Day in the Life of the Alpha Woman, the official podcast of the Easy Breezy Life community. Before I jump into today's topic, if this is your first time joining us, my name is Sada Star, aka Asada O, aka Big Is, depending on where you meet me. And we are a community of faith-filled women who are fierce, focused, and fired up. And we are helping each other shatter glass ceilings every day and overcome life's greatest challenges so that we can become the very best God created us to be. I also need to let you all know that everything we share on this platform is for education and entertainment purposes only. I firmly believe that the Easy Breezy Life is a group project. So if you need a professional to handle your situation, please, sis, go get you some help. Sis, I know we were all holding our breath last week. We just did not know what direction those elections were going to take. I have to say, though, the color red will forever have a different meaning. As much as I love the color red against my melanin and it's my alma mater's color, I have to say that, sis, every time I look at that map, it will never be the same. The color red now represents all the places where I am not willing to move to, or at the very least must look at it with a very fine-tooth comb and find the blue state before I go there, because these elections were wild. And I think what was even more challenging this week is to see the faith community and just how, things erupted and escalated very quickly based on the prayers of some very major figures that we may have all learned to love and appreciate. It's really been interesting to watch. I also need to say that I think what this election is illuminating is the fact that even in the church, there is discord, division, and still racism. And we rarely want to talk about racism in the American church, but it's true. It's true. We need to really start looking at the way we're allowing folk to interpret theology, paying attention to certain issues more than we pay attention to other issues. I'm all about being pro-life, but please be pro all lives, okay? Can you be pro the black ones? And I'm going to need our energy to be the same praying for Africa as it is praying for God to send African angels to the United States. And I'm going to leave it at that because my husband told me that my destiny is too heavy to be petty. Well, we're going to play our favorite game, which is the Black Card Revoked. And the question this week is, according to Kanye, who's running for president in 2024, by the way, who doesn't have the answers? Is it A, Taylor Swift, B, Beck, C, Jay-Z, or D, Sway? Take a moment to think about that because I know you really want to make sure you choose the right answer here. Let's say that again. According to Yeezy, who is running for president in 2024, God be praised, who doesn't have the answers? Is it A, Taylor Swift, B, Beck, C, Jay-Z, or D? How, Sway? How? If you guess D, your answer is correct and you get to keep your black card this week. And let me tell you something else about that. I understand where he was coming from. Kanye be acting up, but the truth of the matter is people always want to give you advice about a journey they haven't walked through. And so I noticed that in the past year, I too have become, how, Sway? Before you come at me with unsolicited advice, please show me how you did it, Sway. I get it. Everybody tell you how to do it, but they never did it. Okay. So I am just so excited for celebrating Joe Biden's win, Kamala Harris, and I am praying for a peaceful transition over our country and our land. Let the will of God be done. How about that? Let the will of God be done. So we're going to take this break and we're going into a very wonderful interview with a very, very special lady today. We'll be right back.
Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen to? How do I make money for my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. I love to use Anchor to reach my strong-willed alpha woman community and help them live healthy, abundant, and successful lives together. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast.
And we are back. Joining me today is Bukki Idemudia, also known as Lewatohbadt. I know I pronounced that wrong, but y'all just gonna have to deal with me if you understand Niger slang. Sorry in advance. She is a small girl with a big God whom believes that God is still working on her. She is a minister of music, has a love for young people, and is an aspiring nurse, as well as has an interest in family, marriage, relationships, and mental health counseling. How are you today, Bukki?
I am fine. How you doing?
You know, I'm going to tell the truth because usually we say we're doing great, but really right now we're all holding on.
Yeah, and it's true. We are.
Yeah,
we are.
It's real out here. And if you told me that we'd be living through an economic crisis, pandemic, and racial injustice all at once in 2020, woo.
Yes, having to stay away from family, having to stay away from loved ones, and having to deal with the pandemic and everything that's going on with the world. Yes, we are holding on. We're definitely holding on.
Yep. I also think it's a moment of like reckoning. Like at the end of the day, if I haven't seen or talked to you in 4 months in the midst of a pandemic, like I don't even know if we're really that cool to begin with.
You know what? It's not that we will always be cool because every time I think of you, I always think about when I started HTC. It was me and you. It was me and you. We used to sit next to each other. We were just coming to the church newly. And, you know, I always think of that as Santa. Like that is my Santa that I remember.
Oh, you know, life be happening. But, you know, and it's so interesting that you mentioned that because what I have been trying to do is get back to the core. I'm like, get back to the core, because, you know, when you spend a lot of time with people, they can influence your behavior, your character, and all those things. And so for me, I've really been taking the pandemic as an opportunity to be alone again. Just be like, who are you really? Right. And every once in a while, I don't think you ever arrive. Of course, I'm going to be 40 in like 3 years, but I think even now more than ever, all I want to be is myself.
Right.
Places where I can be myself. So why don't you start by telling our audience a little bit more about you, what they don't know. I follow your IG here and there. So you go minister like every moment and then you go back. So tell me bit about yourself and what you think people should know beyond the bio.
You know, my bio is what my bio said. That's what that's about me. I am married to my wonderful husband, Bukki Idemudia. We do have a child together. On social media, social media is just a place where whatever I'm thinking, I say it at the moment. Whatever is put on my heart, I say at the moment. And, you know, I don't want people to look at me like, oh, I'm this saint or I am this, I'm Bukki. I'm a person just like you who have thoughts. And sometimes I have crazy thoughts, but when it's time to minister, it's time to minister. And when it's time to joke, it's time to joke. So, you know, I don't really have context on there. I'm just all over. I just do what I want to do. So, yeah.
Right. You're yourself. And I think people can appreciate that. One of the things that I have always appreciated about you is that no matter where I find you, you are yourself. So It could be if it's in church, if it's in the kitchen, it's all the time. Take it or leave it. This is it. How do you find, have you always grown up in church? Have you always grown up in this community? And how do you maintain your individuality when there's so much pressure to blend in or to have a script or to be a certain kind of way?
Well, I think growing up, I've always been myself. My mom reminds me all the time that, you were one of the difficult ones, because I am the last born among four. I'm among four of us, so I'm the fourth born. And I feel as if I should always be myself. I don't want to be fake. I don't want to, I don't want to be a person that people sees me as, oh, I'm up there or I'm down there. No, I want to be seen as Bukki all the time. And I don't want anything to shift. I'm just that real person. I tell the truth all the time. God help me. God help me. Yes, God help me. But I'm just Bukki, and I always want people to feel comfortable around me at all times. So that's just.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. Yes, I think there's a price to pay to being yourself all the time, especially in African culture. Have you ever had to pay a price for that?
You always pay the price for everything that you do, but I don't care. I really don't care, because as long as the truth is being said, as long as nobody's being affected by it, because, I'm always a person that's always defending people as well. So as long as people's not being affected by it, then it's fine. There's consequences for everything. So I'm a G,
Okay. So my question for you is to think through your defining moment in your faith, right? So some people grow up in church. I didn't grow up in church. But even if, regardless of when you were introduced to the church environment, you had to make a decision as an adult as to whether you were just going to be like a churchgoer or you're going to be a Christian. Right. And so like what you're mentioning about like, I defend people, I speak my truth. Are there consequences for it? Yes. These are all like Christ-like characteristics, right? Like it contrary to popular belief, it's not pretending to be perfect or hanging out with the perfect all the time. Right. Actually, Jesus was always rolling with questionable people. Like, why are these your disciples? Or why are you with the whore? Why are you at this party? Why are you turning water into wine? Why not orange juice? So my question is, what was your defining moment in your faith and what keeps you anchored?
Wow. I thought that my defining moment was when I had my son, but I think this Corona actually has been my defining moment. I tested positive for Corona when it was high, and my house shook. It shook. It really shook. We had to, I was actually in the house with my husband and my son for a week with symptoms before I actually went to the hospital. So thinking about that, exposing them to the Corona, had me thinking, and I finally went to the hospital and they tested me positive for Corona. I work in a hospital, so I know obviously that's where I got it. But around that time, I was trying to push my husband out the house. I said, no, you can't be in this house. You're gonna be exposed, and but they had already been exposed. Yeah. So my husband said, no, I'm not leaving you. And my mom tried to convince him to go somewhere. And he was like, no, I'm not leaving my wife. So, he held it down with me. And for like a couple of days after I tested positive, for a couple of days, the house was so dark. The house was dark, but the Holy Spirit never left. He was still in there, And at that time, obviously, I could not sing. I couldn't do anything. So I'm always the person that is always firing back. I'm that person. When it's time to pray, I'm up and down and I'm praying. The whole house must know I'm praying, sis. Yes. And my husband, he's more of a calm prayer. So, for 3 days, the house was really, really dark. And after 3 days, my husband, he was like, no, it can't be like this. So he would make sure he comes in the room, open the curtains, make it light, put on TV for me, put worship. He would make sure put things that I love, and the atmosphere changed. The atmosphere changed, and you can tell God was with us. So at that point, I felt a sense of peace, But even though after that, I slipped into a little small depression, because now I'm asking why questions. why did it have to be me? Why did I have to get the corona? Obviously, I work in a hospital, so of course, I am
front lines.
Yes. So you can get it or you may not get it, but I slipped into like a small depression, and since then I've just, depression's over. We thank God because I've prayed, but I still have the anxiety. I still have I'm traumatized. There's some music that I can't hear. I haven't gone back to my daily activities. I haven't gone back to choir. I haven't gone back to church, And, these are the things that I am battling now, but people don't know that. You understand? But right now, and just like I say, I am an advocate for mental health. So right now, my mental health, I have to take care of it.
Like, who takes care of the strong person when they?
I have to take care of it. And in everything, the devil's always at work, sis. And even in this corona,
endless. Like the other day, I was asking my friend, I'm like, when does this end? I'm like, his joke is easy. The burden is light. This life is not easy breezy. When do we get to that part?
Yeah. And it just seemed as if like, okay, the he's trying to shake me. Like he's really trying to shake me, because even after all of that, I just felt like it's just one attack after the other. So I just got to a point where I said, you know what, devil, you trying to shake me, it's not working, because I have a God that is bigger and that is greater than you. So, you stand on your faith, but that doesn't mean, I hear a lot of fear not. Yes, I still stand on my faith, but this is my reality right now. You understand?
Girl. One of my friends sent me something, and it was called toxic positivity.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the joy of the Lord. Everybody wants you to rest until they need something. Then it's like the joy of the Lord is your strength. But I'm still need a break though.
Yeah. So they say fear not, but I going out. That's why I pick and choose where I go. Yes, I do go outside, don't get me wrong, but I'm able to control that. I'm able to control my 6 feet, but you will not see me in places that are closed. If you invite me to a party and you tell me it's indoors, respectfully, I'll be like, I would try and make it, but I know that, I'm not going to be there. So
be like, I'll get back to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and in this season, I'm just, you don't want to go through this season, but I'm just so grateful to God that I am going through this season, because he's showing me a lot of things. He's giving me a lot of things. And I know that he's taking me somewhere. And I know in this season, the word that he's given me is peace, be still. Because I ask a lot of questions. I'm that person that asks questions. If you know me, I am that person that asks questions that other people will not ask. So... Yes, I'm always battling out with God, and I'm like, God, come on, why? What we doing? Like, what's up? What's the, like, where are we going? And, he just tells me, peace, be still. So, I thank God that even in this season, I am a minister, that I do lead praise and worship. And I think that has been my biggest strength, because I know that when the devil tries to attack, I can attack more.
Yeah,
because you are not going to shut me up. You're not going to take me through that depression. Yes, I have anxiety. I have all these things, but I will overcome it. I know that for sure. So yes, I would say the corona season. Yeah.
So you're definitely in the season. That's so funny, because when I invited you to come, it was like your name dropped in my spirit, and I'm like, she does always have something to say. I'm like, I didn't know that you were going through this right now. I thought maybe there was something that had happened. You know what I mean? Like some experience where that I didn't know, but wow, that's a lot. And you're right. Like, I think for me, just thinking about coronavirus as well, every time somebody's like, oh, you're not coming, I'm like, did you spend 11 months sitting next to your child's hospital? Yeah. Them stab him, poke him, prod him, go into surgery, come back out of surgery, anesthesia like 13 times. Did you? Well, okay, because if you didn't, then you're not going to tell me how to move in coronavirus.
Right. And a lot of things that also like upsets me when I see people. I hear people make jokes. Oh, I don't have the corona. They don't want to wear masks. And my thing about it is the corona has no face.
Nope.
It has no structure.
On the just and the unjust. Yep.
Yeah. So how do you don't have the corona? You sit there, you joke about it. And because corona has hit my home, I know for sure that when somebody makes a comment like that, it irks me. Because don't joke like that, because you have to be sensitive to people. Even in this corona, yes, many people may not be talking, but you still have to be sensitive. And then I see some of these people, they just take life for granted. And like I say, they're in places where they're not wearing their mask and they're like, oh, it's the summertime. Let me enjoy. No, if this is a season where we need to be by ourselves, be by yourself. It's not for long, but it's just for a season.
Right. It's so interesting because it's like outside open and New Jersey went buck wild. Like the other week on my street, there were so many outdoor barbecues, I'm like, Black folk act like summer's never coming back again. Like, relax. Like, it's 1 year.
I feel as if that because I believe I heard at one point they said that corona doesn't stay on surfaces if it's above a specific degree. Like if it's hot, it doesn't. So I guess they put that in mind and they're like, oh, it's summertime. It's going to be hot outside. Let me go. No. If you have to stay inside, stay inside. If you have to stay away, stay away. So...
But I can definitely relate with you with the anxiety. Like, I lie to you not. Like, in the beginning of March when it started, I went and I probably did grocery shopping for like 5 months, right? And first 3 months, I did not go out. I gained a lot of weight. I sure did. But I also felt that like unusual anxiety. I'm like, this thing is killing people. And they're telling people that they're not going to give them vents. I'm like, we just can't even be in that situation.
Yeah. And I beat myself up because, me and my family were so close to each other. Before they got me to go to the hospital, I was just there rejecting. I said, no, I don't have the corona. No, I don't have the corona. If I go to the hospital, I'm definitely going to get the corona. I work at the hospital. So I'm like, duh. But at that point, when my mom and my husband made the decision that today you're going to the hospital regardless of what it is, my mom rushed to my house so fast to come get my son. Oh. And remember, I said that they were already exposed for a week. Mm-hmm. So now that means my mom coming to my house so fast to come get my son, I exposed my parents to corona. And, my parents are elderly people.
Yep.
But I thank God every day, as much as I exposed them, God covered them for me.
Amen.
Yes, he covered them for me because my husband has not gotten the corona and he's been around me this whole time. My son is fine. My parents is fine as well. And my parents, they work at hospitals too. So they're still, my dad is retired, but my mom is still working. So, but he's covered them for me in this season. So I'm grateful also as well for a lot of things. And I'm grateful for life too, but we're still trying to work on some things. I'm still trying to get myself back. So obviously my choir, because I miss it. That's my food. I miss it. Yes.
Next, I'm like,
yeah,
a huge chunk of time. That's like the one area that I'm just like never interested in joining in church. I'm like, well, all them days and I got practice too. It's a lot of work to be in the choir.
Oh, sis, it's a lot of work. It is. It gets overwhelming sometimes, but I mean, if it's something that you're passionate about,
exactly,
you make it work. You try and make it work. Yeah.
And so I wonder, because they say that, praise, putting on, instead of a spirit of heaviness, we put on a garment of praise. And so I would also imagine that being able to praise and worship would help lift some of this depression and anxiety you're feeling.
Always.
How is not being able to do that in a church setting for you because of, being diagnosed and trying to be careful impacting you? And what are you doing to counteract that?
Could you repeat that question again?
Yeah. So you're not going to minister at church at the moment because of your experience, but praise also has a big part in keeping God's joy in your heart, right? Even if you're going through circumstances. So what are you doing? Are you praising at home? Are you praising with a few friends? Like, how are you keeping that part of your life and your spirit alive?
Oh, I'm praising at home, sis. Once I join church in the morning, first service in the morning, afterwards, there's some churches that I normally like to tune into that they do high praise. And obviously there are some singers that I also like to listen to as well. So this house is always on fire. My son already knows. He knows when it's worship time, when it's praise time, and even sometimes when I'm having my own personal time and I'm singing, he would always, to him, obviously it's just me screaming in the house, obviously, but he knows that okay, mommy's praying at this time. Mommy's worshiping at this time. So yeah, those are the things that I technically do. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That is fantastic. So you mentioned something that I think we need to spend a little bit more time and hold it there. Because one thing I've realized is that if coronavirus has not impacted your physical health, then it's definitely impacted your mental health and your relationships.
Right.
And the Bible says that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And I have to tell you that even for me, as someone who I considered having like a really strong mind, being in this house and not seeing human beings, you be having, people have like invisible beef. There's a whole bunch of beef that just exists that came out of nowhere. And you have to separate the difference between, is this the enemy? Is this real? And having to separate. So what are you doing to take care of your mental health? Right? Like, you're acknowledging that there's an issue. What are you doing?
Oh, sis, my family plays a role. They call me frequently. My dad can call me every day, checking up on me and, teaching them the new WhatsApp, adding people to the videos. He'll call all the grandchildren. He'll call all my siblings. And yeah. So they're always on point with that. They talk to me every day. Apart from that, sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes we do go to the park because I can't keep my son inside the house all the time. That would be selfish of me. That's just like taking away his playtime and fun time too. So his dad plays soccer. So sometimes I would take him to the field as well. We would be at the side playing our little soccer and doing all those things. My friends as well, they call me. In this season, not everybody, people that you would think that you were cool and stuff like that. Not everybody is calling me. However, the people that look for me, they look for me. They look for me, and I'm grateful for them in this season as well. Yeah. So, I'm doing well. And even at nighttime when I have my own personal time, look, there is no time for games right now. I am not playing games right now. So at night when I have my personal time, I am praying. I'm always praying. I'm always praying. And even in my spirit, if I'm not praying, I'm still worshiping inside. So those are the things that I'm doing to help me with my mental health. And, I talk to myself too. I talk to myself too.
Yourself out of it.
Sometimes when I have to think out loud, I would think out loud, okay, Bukki, you have to do this today. Okay, Bukki, you have to do this. Okay, Bukki, you have to overcome this. Yeah. So those are the things that I'm doing. And, because I do want to go back to my activities. I do want to go back to my normal thing. But then again, when we think about it, winter time is coming now.
And that's what I'm concerned about, is that we're about to, the CDC showed numbers that coronavirus is going back on a surge, right? And now we're going to be winter and indoors.
Yeah.
That is going to be really hard for some people, because what I realize is that for some people it's like, listen, the enemy is messing with my mind so much that I'd rather risk getting this virus than absolutely lose my mind behind closed doors. Right. And recognizing that it's not right or wrong. It's really a battle of which area are you struggling with the most and what's the best decision for you, and being able to honor the decisions that we all make individually. But winter's coming, and I know for sure, like, I have introverted characteristics, but I'm not going to be able to not see people all winter long.
Yeah. I mean, to each his own. To each his own, I would say. However, I would not say expose yourself to everybody. Just have your little small crew. You keep your little small crew that if they come in, you can invite them to your house. You can go to their house. It's fine like that, but I would say that keep it very small, keep it very intimate too as well. Yep. Don't be that person where, oh no, I need to go have fun. Just like how these restaurants, they're opening up inside the dining room, You wouldn't see me there. I'm sorry. I can cook in my house.
We're not popping bottles in this season.
Yeah, I can cook in my house. We can Uber eat,
Our pastors listening, apple cider.
Yes, apple cider. But just keep it intimate, Just have the people that keeps you sane. You don't need, to be honest with you, you don't need everybody. You don't need everybody around you. So, but if you need to keep yourself insane and you have to see some people, then you just keep it very intimate. That's all.
It is. Like, personally for me, like, I realized, like, this morning I went out to go run an errand and I forgot the mask. I'm like, this is why you stay in the house. You just cannot be trusted in these streets.
I forget my mask all the time. So I remember one time I went to a store and I thought I had my mask with me. And I entered the store and I was walking past the lady and the way she looked at me. And then I felt offended. I said, is there something wrong with me? Mm-hmm. And then I realized I didn't have my mask on. So I ran right back outside. Yes, I ran right back outside to go get my mask because I'm not used to it. I don't think I'll ever get used to wearing that mask.
It's bizarre to see that. Like, even for me, right? Like, for me, I like walking. That helps my mental health. Mm-hmm. When I went to the park near my house, there were so many Black folk on the track. And people, I said, your spit is just floating in the air. And so you're jogging, now I'm running into your spit. I said, it's not safe here either.
Yeah.
And I want to go to the gym because these are the things that help me rest. They help me unwind. But it's like, do I put a little treadmill in my house? Do I put it in the basement? Do I just go outside and stand on the porch just so I can see it? But what I've committed to myself is like, even if I have to go out and take a trip to the Dunkin' Donuts hillside just to feel like I have life, I'm going. It's something to give me some level of normalcy.
I thought of that as well. Like going back to the gym because it's about time. My health, it's about time because we've been in quarantine for so long. Like I need to go back to the gym. But then I think about it twice again, like, okay, going back to the gym, is people really going to sanitize? Are they really going to, I wouldn't want to put myself in all that. Working out at home does not work for me.
Yeah, me.
It don't work for me because I know my couch is right there. I know the kitchen is right there and the refrigerator is right there. So it doesn't work for me. I'm more of a person that goes out, go to the gym or run around my block, those type of things. Mm-hmm. And thank God I have, we live in a complex. So running around the complex too, it helps sometimes for me too as well. Or walk into the mailbox, it helps for me. Yeah.
Yeah, just getting something. But you're right. Winter is coming. And I thought we were going to be in the house for 12 weeks. I did not know that we were going to be 6 months longer, right? And I don't even see the end in sight. And the truth of the matter is like, there's so much mistrust in the government right now. Like even if they told me like, oh, this vaccine work, I'd be like,
Even when they bring the vaccine out, I'm not jumping.
Yeah. Cause my mind is like, I am legend. I'm not trying to be those people in I am legend.
Yeah.
Because, we're catastrophizing now, right? Like, it's like, oh, my gosh. I'm sure for somebody in their house, they're like, oh, my goodness, is this the end of the world? Look at all this stuff that's happening. Mm-hmm. But I think what I realize is that even if it was, you have no control over it.
Yes, you don't have any control, but we have control over ourselves. So if they say stay in the house, stay about in the house. It's not for long, like I say. And just like I said, if you ever need a breather, if you're not a person that can stay in the house, just like as we're talking, taking walks, going out for fresh air, it's okay. It's not there is no crime. As long as when you come back in the house, you do the proper steps, washing your hands, taking those clothes off, all those things. So.
Yeah, you're right. And the truth of the matter is like, even with me and being as what most people may perceive as obsessive because of my son, I don't always remember all those steps, right? It's just like, all I can remember is sanitize your hands, wash your hands, don't touch your son with whatever you had on from outside. Mm-hmm. But like, I was just talking to someone in healthcare who's like, they cut off their hair because they don't want to wash their wigs because they were in the hospital and coronavirus on the wigs. I said, what? Wigs.
The wig is important to that person.
I got a flat head, so I can't wear a shortcut. So I'm just gonna have to touch my son with the bonnet on.
Well, that's why I'm glad I cut my hair. I'm glad I put the scissors through it. And I was like, I'm not even gonna. It was just something that I didn't want to even put on my list of stressing about because being natural is another full-time job too. It's another full-time job.
Especially for here, I'm like, this too much. I'm like, but you going to take the breakage with just for me or
I see a lot of people that's transitioning back to perms. I see a lot of people cutting their hair because it's becoming, I don't know how they did it back in the days, but now I cannot do it.
Like right now under this wig, I got these dookie braids and braids where they lock up. You got to take them out.
You wear these dookie braids.
Because the other thing is that my hair is disrespectful, but I'm tender-headed. I'm tender-headed. This hair is disrespectful. I can't let everybody do it because I believe that your hair is your crown. I have like all
Sis, you talking.
And so it's a tough situation. But I remember there's one year I made my husband shave all my hair off. He was laughing at me, but it was just because people want freedom.
Right.
Oh, I don't know if I'm a big chop and do a little mini fro and be like, we're just gonna start over, because
it was before I got married, it was very easy. I used to do wash day. I used to be consistently, like every 3 days I would do something to my hair.
wow.
When I had my son, oh my Lord, I neglected my hair. I'm not even gonna lie. I neglected it because it was just so much at the time. And it was just literally just me and my husband. So I was like, So yes, we ain't got no edges. The edges, we got oil it. We have to oil it.
What you talking about? You got edges. So let's transition into that, because managing motherhood with a young child, we're not talking about a 10-year-old who's independent, right? There's a certain threshold of managing children where they're just like on you, right? Managing a young child, managing ministry, managing work, and being newlyweds, and all these life adjustments at the same time. How are you balancing it? Because you're right, something has to give. So how are you balancing it?
Oh, the way I'm balancing it, Asata, you said it in the beginning. I take it one step at a time, each day at a time. When I wake up in the morning, I just try and see what's more important. And I'm also in school too, as well, too. So putting all those things together, it's not easy. It's not an easy thing, but God has given us women the strength to do a lot of things, to be able to multitask, and that's basically what I'm doing, taking it one day at a time and prioritizing what's important and what's not important, taking the things that is putting extra baggages on me and that's not really needed and taking it away. So right now, my focus more is basically on my son, my home, school. That's it. Those are the things that I'm doing. And like I say, you got to pray every day, because sanity is needed. Because just last night I posted, somebody come get this child, because he was over the roof last night. He was over the roof. But at the end of the day, you just take a deep breath sometimes. And if you need to take a break, take a break. Take a break. Yeah, if you need to take a break, take a break. And most time I find myself taking deep breaths throughout the day.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
Yeah.
All right, what's next? And if I'm not able to do something that day, I put it on for the next day, and we'll get through it. And I do have a schedule, because mommy brain, I still have it. I have it. I have what they say, pregnancy brain.
You know what I realized? Mommy brain is actually sleep deprivation. I'm like, it's not mommy brain. We tired. Like, you just tired for the rest of your life. You're never sleeping.
Yeah.
To sleep again.
Yeah, you don't. It's
unreal. Like, I think about, so I watch my husband sleep, and I'm like, why is your sleep this banging? Like, everybody
sleep so easily. Oh my God.
Me.
I always try to see if I can sneak in nap time with my son, and it never works, because, okay, let's say he sleeps for 2 to 3 hours. I'm laying in that bed. 1 hour later, I'm still not asleep. An hour and a half later, I'm still not asleep. And then when I'm about to get to sleep, he wakes up. And sometimes I always try to fake and act like I'm sleeping to see if he'll go back to sleep. But no, he will not. He'll just climb on top of me, mommy. And I'm like, all right, it's go time. Let's go. What are we going to do? Finding activities and things. So yeah,
it's another level. It really isn't. And when I think about my mom, who had like 8 kids, I'm like, yo, how do you even remember your brain? I'm just trying to get out on time. Like my son, he has a lot of equipment. So like earlier in this week, we had to take him on a doctor's appointment. Mm-hmm. By the time I was done packing all the accessories, I call them accessories, what comes with his life, I locked us out of multiple in our house. My husband had to come back knocking down doors, because like, in that moment, I wanted to judge myself and be like, oh, you should have prepared. I'm like, no, I'm doing my best. You're doing great.
As long as you're doing your best. Yeah. That's what matters. And like I said, you take it one step at a time. I'm sorry. You just take it one step at a time. You can only do what you can do, and be the best at it, and try and be the best at it.
Yeah. But I think what we need in this period is like to be surrounded by friends who understand that we are all responding differently. It's going to take a lot of grace for our relationships to make it through this.
Right.
And, I appreciate your honesty in saying like, it was all good till it wasn't. And you're still processing. Thank God that, you're healed in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen.
And but there are now the realities and the trauma of what you went through and realizing what could have been lost.
Right.
And having to recover from that. But I'm just, my prayer for you is that you'll recover all. And I'm just praying that all make it through this. Lord, when is it going to end? I don't know. But finding ways, I think your tip was really important. Finding a small committed group of people who are like, we're not chilling with everybody, but are, because we care about each other, we are about what we do when we're not with one another because we don't want to put one another at risk. That is love in this season.
Yes, basically to understand that. And those are the type of people I keep around me. Thank God for my friends, because my friends, they know if I don't pick up the phone in 3 days, they coming down to knock my door down. Like we just want to make sure you're good. We just want to make sure you're fine. Those are the type of people that you want, people that understands you, people that's not overbearing. Oh, well, she acting brand new because she don't want to do this. Or she acting, like those are the type of people you don't need around you. No. You don't need those type of people around you. Situation, it is what it is. You have a family you have to protect. So it's not about, it's not about them. It's about you and your family first. So.
Yeah. Well, that was fantastic. So parting words, advice for any women listening in who maybe, maybe they're feeling anxious too right now. Maybe they didn't get coronavirus, but they're still anxious because we don't know. Everybody responds differently. What are your parting words of advice for them?
My words of advice for you is to take it one day at a time. You as a woman, we do a lot. We have to take care of the kids. We have to take care of the home. We have to take care of our husbands. We work. You go to school. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of responsibility on you. So you also have to take care of yourself. So I am an advocate for mental health. I work in mental health as well. So if you feel as if your mental health is being compromised, take a break. Ask for help. I am not afraid to ask for help. A lot of times people always ask me because majority of my family is in Texas, and I'm the only one on this side with my parents.
Oh, I didn't. So, I always see her at every event. I didn't know she wasn't in the state.
No. Yeah, it's because sometimes she just comes to visit. So sometimes I'm not afraid to tell my siblings, look, I'm going to drop Efosa off. I'm flying him down. He's going to be there for a month. I'm not afraid of that. And even my friends that I have around me, sometimes when they see that I'm overwhelmed, they'll be like, oh, do you need us to babysit? Or do you need my childcare provider to help you? Those types of things. So I'm not afraid. I am not afraid. My dad, he's a rock right now. He's retired. So he ain't got nothing to do but to babysit anyway. So if you need the help, ask for help. Because, we are superwoman, but even at the end of the day, we still need to focus on ourselves, because if we're not good, then how would everybody else be good? How would our surroundings be good? So I always tell my mom that too, because, one thing I realized about our parents is that they just keep going. They just keep going. My mom works overnight and she comes home and she don't sleep. She worries about, oh, this person needs this, you need that. And I always tell my mom,
stressed.
And I always tell her, like, Mom, we're all, yes, when we were younger, I can understand, but now we're all grown. You don't need to worry about nobody. And I always let her know, when you come home from work, I want you to go straight into that room. And she was like, yeah, if I go into the room, I won't be able to sleep. No. That's not true. You want to know why that's not true? Because if she was to come to my house right from work and she sits on that couch, what's going to happen? She's going to fall asleep. So that's not true. So I want you to make sure you come back from work, you lay on that bed. Even if you don't sleep, I want your body to be relaxed. You understand? So you got to take time out of yourself. And I always tell her, if you need the help, like, call me. She's like, oh, I don't want to feel as if I'm disturbing you. You're not disturbing me, because yes, I saw my mom growing up and she saw me growing up. So now it's time for me to take care of you.
Aww.
Yeah, it's time for me to take care of you. So take that time for yourself. It is very important. Ask for the help, if you like to so as for me, I like to get my nails done. I like to get my feet done, and I like to do my hair. I like my wigs and all those things. My husband knows that. So those are the things that I make sure I do for myself. And, getting your nails done and your feet done, it's not going to take 1 hour. It's not going to take 2 hours. It's going to take a couple of hours,
Mm-hmm.
So do those things. Anything you like. If you like to go for a spa, do those things, and create time for yourself so you can rethink things, so you can, just have a break. So
the one thing I do is the spa, boy, but I ain't going in that water. This nude spa, I ain't going in that water. I don't know what's floating in the water, the juices. Yeah. I just complicate it.
I wouldn't go to it as well.
Thank you so much for giving your insight, for your vulnerability today, and for sharing. Ladies and gents, if you're listening in, you can find her on IG. I will link to her IG platform in the episode notes of this particular recording. Thank you, my love.
Thank you so, so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you for this opportunity. You're actually the second person that's given me this opportunity. And I enjoyed this conversation. I enjoyed everything that I've gained from you. It's also, you've always been popping to me because I always feel as if I can always relate, because me and you, when it comes to our facial expressions and yes.
All right. I'm like, I just got to be myself. I have to be honest all the time because you can see it on my face. You can feel my energy. So
yes.
This is it.
God bless you.
Oh, God bless you. Love you much.
Love you too. My regards to the family.
There you have it, y'all. My wonderful interview with my girl, Lewatohbadt. I just want y'all to remember that as the surge goes back up, we don't know what the rest of this year looks like with coronavirus, but I wish you safety, health, comfort, and peace on every side. Take care of you and take care of your loved ones in this season. God bless you, and may God keep your homes. See you next week at A Day in the Life of the Alpha Woman.